நமச்சிவாய வாழ்க, நாதந்தாள் வாழ்க, இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ்வாழ்க, போகழியாண்ட குருமனிதன் தாழ்வாழ்க, ஆகமம் ஆகி நின்றன்னிப்பான் தாழ்வாழ்க, ஏகன் அநேகன் இறைவனடி வாழ்க, வேகங்கெடுத்தாண்ட வேந்தன் அடிபெல்க, பிறப்பருக்கும் பின்யகந்தன் பேய்கழல்கள் வெல்க, புறத்தார்க்கு சேயோந்தன் பூங்கழல்கள் வெல்க, கரங்குவிவார் மகிழும் பூங்கழல்கள் வெல்க, சிறங்குவிவார் ஓங்குவிக்கும் சீரோன் கழல் வெல்க, ஈசனடி போற்றி எந்தை அடி போற்றி, தேசனடி போற்றி சிவன் சேவடி போற்றி, நேயத்தே நின்ற நிமலனடி போற்றி, மாயப்பிறப்பருக்கும் மன்னனடி போற்றி, சீரார் பெருந்துரை நம் தேவனடி போற்றி, ஆராத இன்பம் அருளுமலை போற்றி. சிவனவன் என் சிந்தையுள் நின்ற அதனால், அவன் அருளாலே அவன் தாள் வணங்கி, சிந்தை மகிழ சாய் புராணம் தென்னை, விந்தை முனை விழுதும் ஓய உரைப்பன் யான். Our hearts united in love and service, and Sai walks with us. When? Right here and now. Right here and now. Our belief in him guide our steps, and Prashanti blooms in us. When? Right here and now. Right here and now. Our hands reach out to give endlessly, and Swami's mission shines right here and now, right here and now. Our lives reflect his message, and oneness with him enshrines right here and now, right here and now. My dear sisters and brothers, the last 3 days I have been so spiritually charged. I don't know when was it the last time I experienced anything like this. The last whole month we have been doing retreats all over, spreading Swamis, and this is like the final, the last bhajan, like these boys sang so beautifully, Sarvatra Nama Sankirtan and Panduranga. This was that final climax. He lifts me high up, and it's going to take me weeks to come back to ground, if you will. Staying with Swami has taught me so much. That 30 minutes is definitely not enough. But nevertheless, I will do my best today to share a gem or two from the years that I spent with him. One day I was in Swami's room and collecting the old cards from the letters. Now, let me explain that. So Swami gets a lot of mail. Even in those days, in 1980, 81, he used to get a sack full of mail. And so we will sit down and then sort out the big envelopes, small envelopes, the postcards versus registered mail. And Swami used to actually sign. Registered mails needed a signature. So the lucky person would get that receipt and Swami would sign. And so all that was sorted out and kept. There were a lot of cards, beautiful cards that devotees would send with prayers and quotes, very beautiful quotes, very apt for Swami. And for some reason, for many weeks, Swami used to keep that aside. Otherwise, he will always say, Danta, tear it off. And so we will, whatever he doesn't read, our duty was to open these envelopes and see if there is any cash or any check, we would give it to the ashram. And so this went on for many months. And one day, I used to secretly, open these cards before throwing it away, but we would keep it aside, just the business, it's not a birthday greeting card, but greeting cards, if you will. Because they were so beautiful, I didn't have the heart to tear them. So I put them away in one corner downstairs, inside near the kitchen, there was a room. I just kept it away thinking, I don't feel like just staring those beautiful cards. For some reason, Swami discovered it without my knowledge. I didn't mean to take it or anything. I just didn't feel the heart to tear it, so I had kept it aside in some one corner. And for some reason, Swami must have discovered it, and I don't know when it went upstairs. One day, I was sitting with a card and, sorting out Swami's mail, and one card was open, and I just opened to read one of those quotes because they were so inspiring. I shouldn't have done that. Hey, the sound came from behind. I simply froze with that card in hand. And then he came, he had a bag with that collection of cards that I had done. He hit me from the back. He said, Petuko, he said. And I had that beautiful bag full of these cards. And later on, about 10 years or 12 years later, I made a beautiful album with my pictures with Swami and the relevant quotes and offered it to Swami. And of course, he went page by page and signed it and blessed it. So that's my treasure that I keep very close to my heart. But there's a story here, and that's why I just built up a background. And so in that bag that Swami gave me, the first card that I took was a big one. And I opened it, there was this lovely and beautiful prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. What was that prayer? Make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. From this moment on, let me not seek to be loved as much as I will seek out to love. Let me not seek to receive as much as I will seek out to give. Let me not seek to be pardoned as much as I would seek out to pardon. For it is in giving that I truly receive. It is in loving that I am truly loved. And it is in dying that I am born to eternal life. That touched my heart. And I said, this is my prayer. So you might be wondering, wait a minute, yesterday you were talking of Amitabh Bachchan and today suddenly you are becoming an instrument of peace. When did that happen? When I was in Swami's room watching him every day, my curiosity that what happens in Swami's room, does he sit on a sofa, does he have a recliner, does he have a big television screen, what does he have? All that desires, all that doubts were completely cleared by his infinite grace. I climb up the very narrow staircase. It's a circular staircase that goes upstairs. And I enter the very first darshan I get of him sitting on the chair. I went down, I touched his feet, and the first word he said was, Ippudu nunchi discipline, no talking, silent. What happened to that Swami I hugged and the Swami said, Kal se aao and all that? Suddenly it was a divine Swami. Believe me, my dear brothers, living with Swami, discipline is to the letter and to the spirit. And silence, oh my God, we need to understand what true silence is when you are with Swami. There is a space that Swami is in always, and nobody would dare disturb that space around Swami. So even clearing a throat like this, and he would look up. He said, Neel kavala, manchi neer kavala, tisko. Drink water. He was so sensitive. When we talk of being in the moment, perfectly always in the moment. We do that occasionally in meditation, right? Or when we attend retreats. How about somebody watching somebody who is almost perpetually in the moment? And Swami was like that, especially when he was alone, in the moment. Very, very sensitive to every sound, every smell, and everything. His senses were alive. Even though he seemed to be reading a letter or closing his eyes, he was completely in the moment. And I think the magic is always in the moment, right? In that Bindu is the center of the Sri Chakra. The Bindu represents that point where there is no past, no future, only the present, only the moment. And so I began to observe Swami. As a young boy who had no background, I began to observe Swami, and my curiosity led to admiration. A small, tiny room was his living room. Like I said last night, and for those of you who didn't attend last night, there was no picture on the walls for him to, there were no fancy paintings on the wall. There wasn't a huge window that he could go and see the landscape outside. Yes, there was a window with wooden panels, and 5 of those 6 panels were closed, one small panel open with a very thick iron or a steel mesh to prevent mosquitoes from coming in. So hardly any light also would come in. So that's why constantly there will always be a 100-watt bulb always on in Swami's room. Planned was, and his pastime was reading letters. It took me less than a week to begin to admire, because I said, how could somebody live like this? You and I can go and do a retreat like this. Many of us feel thank when we go back home, my bed, my shower, I'm so happy. That was nice, but it was not so comfortable. Because we are stepping outside the comfort zone. We can do a boot camp where we say, let us all lie down on the floor with Swami. 100 days I will lie down on the floor. 100 days I'll do this or that. We can do it for a specific period of time. But for Swami, that was a way of life. He had no place to go out for a fresh walk. There was nothing that you and I can consider as the basic, even the basic comforts was not there. And why that came as a shock for me, and why the curiosity turned to admiration was, downstairs he would sit on a silver throne, he would drive a Mercedes Benz, and as a young boy I thought, if he is like this down here, what he must be upstairs. So when Swami talked about simple living, high thinking, it was not gelling with me. But when I saw this in action, I said, oh my gosh, this is the entirely the reverse. He's living such an austere life in his home, in his room. Not one day, not 2 days. These are not where devotees can see. Nobody even knows this until some of us spell it out and tell people, do you know how Swami lived? Imagine you going to your closet and you opening your closet in the morning and deciding what to wear. We take a few minutes to decide, right? Yesterday was blue, today I'll wear red, or tomorrow I'll wear green, or whatever it is. Even though we guys wear only brown and black, still we have at least brown, black, white to decide between, correct? Much to our wives' consternation. They'll all the time brown or black, wear something else. Okay, blue, jeans, what else do we have? But we have a choice. We choose what clothes to wear. Imagine Swami. He opens his door, his almirah, orange, 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 orange. Maybe Swami decides, today I'm going to go wild, deep orange. Today is Krishna Janmashtami, light orange. What was his choice? Every day, in and out, every day of his life. Swami he was blushing so much when he first wore the white robe. He was blushing like a bride when he first wore a pinkish golden robe for his 60th birthday. If you see, there's a very beautiful jhula he sits. He looked magnificent, but he was so blushing, he was taking time to come out of that interview room because he was so conscious. What is this? And when he wore the purple color for the convocation, there was pride, but he was so conscious about, oh my gosh, how do I look? I hope I'm looking okay. It was so new, and we all felt so happy that at least Swami got to wear something other than an orange robe. But that was his life. But next to his almirah, or cupboard as we call it, there was another cupboard which had fancy clothes, lovely silk saris, dhotis. But that was to give, not for him. It was to give. He always chose, when he gave quality. He always chose the best things to give. And therefore, for me, watching that it led to admiration. I began to admire him. You go into his bedroom, there was a small little bedroom, even smaller than the living room, barely 8 feet by 9 feet, I would think, with an oval-shaped bed. Somebody had gifted him this bed with Adi Shesha. On his 50th birthday, he accepted it. Because this is what Shirdi Baba and Swami is, the beauty of it is, whatever you give him, they will accept. You ask him to sit on a silver throne, he'll say, okay, if it makes you happy, I will sit. If you don't have it, he will sit on the stage. There are many times in Prashant, in the Purnachandra auditorium during Yagna, he'll lift his robe, he'll sit on the ground, cross legs, and he'll start reading letters and watch what's going on in the Yagna. Those are very beautiful moments, of course. So, it was not what he wanted. He just lived for us, whatever made us happy. But when you left him alone, he went back to his austere Shiva self. The Shiva self that is completely content with simply sitting. It doesn't matter what you're sitting on. That contentment opened doors to infinite energy. That is what my belief was. How could he be so content? How could he get that positive energy when he's living in such dark rooms? His bathroom was even smaller than the one you have in the hotel room, or perhaps just about that much. No windows there, no tiles at the time, at least when I was there. And I was there till 94, 93, he moved to Purnachandra Auditorium. So there were no tiles, there was just cement walls. We used to wash and clean. And I still remember 1980, Swami tripped and fell. And we were downstairs so scared. Of course, we were not responsible for it, but we were so upset and scared, not knowing what to do. And I still remember we were hearing this dialogue between senior devotees and Swami. And there were some senior students and they were pleading with Swami. What was they pleading? They said, Swami, please put some tiles in the bathroom. And Swami was shouting back and saying, who do you think sends the money? Are devotees sending the money to put tiles in my bathroom? These boys are not working hard. And he called us and he said, Duna potalara, urke tintanadu, eating, sleeping, go and clean properly. So we ran to the bathroom, struggled, both of us pretended to clean already, which was clean. But the point there was, he refused anything for himself. Literally refused. Because he was completely content. Because he knows that every offering that devotees do was precious and he valued that. And that same value he give when a box comes, like a 5-year-old opening a birthday gift, he will want to open it. He will tell this boy, one box goes here, one box goes there. He will open a pettu, he will say. And we would organize this. Entire rooms are full of storage boxes. Boxes. Later on, somebody said, Sai Baba has a lot of Nike shoes. Did he wear Nike shoes? This was somebody gifts and Swami will say, keep it. Because like a father who would value gifts that children give, he would always see it, keep it, okay, keep it here. They have given it so much love, keep it here. And that, the simplicity of his life, I think in the simple things lies the most profound truths. And that is what made me from curiosity to admiration, from admiration to love, from love to devotion, from devotion to surrender. I don't know when this happened, but slowly over the months and the years that I watched him in many facets and many experiences, that happened slowly. So make me an instrument happened a few months. That's why I said, if this is a person, I want to be with him. I want to be his instrument. I want to talk about him. I want to let people know this is who Sai Baba is. The intensity, the austerity, the focus. When Swami talks about determination, when Swami talks about dedication, my dear sisters and brothers, there is something, Dr. Reddy was sharing about oneness in thought, word and deed. That was what I saw. Integrity, authenticity to the very core, embodiment of authenticity, embodiment of integrity. He dedicated every moment of his waking hours to his mission. And he slept, I don't know which other dimension he went and helped whom. We don't know that, right? One Swami was not feeling so well, and my friend and I once again sitting at his feet, and my friend was a little bolder than me. So he said, Swami, please don't go for darshan today. And Swami instantly he said, Akkada chudandi, venaka. We looked back, there was a little clock. And Swami said, what is the most important hand in that clock? So we looked at Swami, hand, the our hand, peddaga undi. Ada, he asked, is the our hand the more important? So we said, maybe that's the one. So we just nodded. And Swami said, Kadu. The most important hand is the second hand. If that second hand stops, the clock will stop. I am the second hand. I will never stop. And then he did like this. Sathya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. Sathya, Dharma, Shanti. Ide. Pani ide. I will not give up that at any moment. And we saw it, right? Later on in his life, he had every excuse to retire into a shell, if you will. But every moment, whether he was in the wheelchair, whether he was sick, he kept giving, kept giving. He wanted to come out and give darshans and give. That beauty and that intensity for to serve mankind, for what have I come for, and I want to give, that I saw in Swami. And to me, that humanness proved to me that he was divine, because I realized nobody in their normal mind can survive this kind of intense living. Again, not 1 week, not a weekend, not a month, every day of his life, decades after decades, completely focused on giving. And therefore, that prayer came to my heart: make me an instrument of thy peace. When I spoke in front of Swami many years later, I shared this prayer. And Swami was very happy with that prayer. And I said, okay, because I said it in a matter of my speech like this. And Swami was very happy. Baga matladu, he said. And I was very happy. And that became my even more fervent prayer. And I carried that on for many years. Another chance came. I said, maybe about 5 years have passed. Now Swami is asking me to speak. I will say this prayer one more time. Maybe Swami has forgotten that. I don't want to repeat, right? Pardon me if I speak like this, but that's how we thought, foolish as we were. So maybe I can repeat it. And so I repeated that prayer. The next day morning, Swami came. He said, ask some VIPs, Baga Matladanaviru, I mean, did he speak well? They all said, nodded. And he looked at me and said, Baga Matladanarakani, Adi make me emo cheppave. What is that? You know, you spoke okay, you spoke well, but what does that make me? You know, he said. I was like, oh gosh, this is a prayer, right? So I knelt to Swami and I said, Swami, Ade Swami, make me an instrument of thy peace. Make me an Ade prayer, Swami. Ade, them to make me tea, make me coffee, make me instrument. And suddenly he was, you know. You say, make me tea, make me coffee. I am not your servant. Who are you to tell me, make me this, make me that? Now, how do I tell Swami, excuse me, Swami, that's the prayer, that's published, that's what's been chanted. But here's the perspective of the divine is so beautiful. And I want to, because I'm sharing this over the years, how he taught me. It's a very powerful lesson for me. And that's what I want to end with this one lesson that when you take home. He said, make me Oddu. May I cheppu? May I be an instrument? There is more to this story. I'll finish it because I'm running out of time and you'll clap even harder. But wait a minute. So may I sounded very good. It resembled humility. There was a co-creation with the divine that gave a different bhava. I realized how powerful it was. So the next few years I continued, may I be an instrument. I truly, truly prayed. Even to this day, that is the only prayer. But that prayer modified later. And I prayed for the remainder of that decade. It was 89, I think, when Swami took us to Kodaikanal. And Kodaikanal, about 60 days, every day he made me speak along with 2 other boys. Every day before his talk, he would make me speak. And I was running out of content. I was running out of material, running out of quotes and poems. I was not like that unending factory that Dr. Reddy has. He just dishes out quote after quote. I'm amazed, how do you do that? I was running out of material, and therefore I said, wait a minute, I have this ace card, my prayer, may I be an instrument. And Swami, it's a very intimate gathering, and I can actually say that once again with my heart in his presence to him. And therefore I stood next to Swami. 10 years after all of this had begun, almost 10 years. And I said, may I be an instrument of thy peace, Swami. And I repeated the poem. After my talk, I ended the poem with my talk. And I bent down and kissed his feet. I got up to look at him, and what Swami said. Inka yenta sepura beggar laga may I antavu. How many more days now, like a beggar, you're going to say, may I? And then he said, when are you going to say, I am an instrument of thy peace? Eppudu cheptavu? I am ani eppudu cheptavu? I am Mani Cheppu. And that day, looking into his eyes, I said, I am an instrument of thy peace. I am. Brothers, right here and now, let's start saying, we are, I am. Let's not wait for liberation to come from somewhere. Let's not wait for something to happen. This here and now, I am, we are. Our hearts united in love and service. Swami walks with us right here and now. Say, right here and now. Say, right here and now. Yes, our beliefs in Him guide our steps. Prashanti blooms in us right here and now. Right here and now. Right here and now. It is at this very moment. Sisters and brothers, the SSIO is a divine organization formed by Bhagavan Himself. Let there never be a doubt in your mind. Thousands of years later, the small little steps, the small little stumbling steps, if you will appear like the few days after the child was born. Now Swami has given this SSIO a chance to grow. You and I have the divine opportunity to take this divine organization that Swami has lent his name to be a part of it. Let us bring our very best into this. Let us share everything that we have into his mission. Let us enjoy the joy of giving. It is only in giving that we truly receive. It is only in loving that we are truly loved. And it is only in dying the little self. Don't worry about this little I. What do I do? How do I pay my bills? What do I do? All that will be taken care of. Yoga Kshemam Mahamyam. The universe aligns everything for you if you go to the very source of the universe. And the source of the universe is none other than Sai. Have him the center of your life. Let every day revolve around him. Let every decision revolve around his values. Every choice that you make, every friend that you choose, every TV show that you watch, every book you read, every music you listen to, let it revolve around Sai. Would Swami approve of this? Would Sai approve of this? Will it take me away from him? And if that movie brings you close to him, watch the movie. If a book brings you close to him, read that book. If a friend reminds you of him, be the friend. But if there's anything in life that takes you away from him, ask yourself, is it really worth it? In Prashant Nilayam, when we lived, everything revolved around Swami. The schools, the schedules, everything revolved around darshan time. That is when I realized life has to revolve around Swami. Swami cannot revolve around you to suit your convictions. And therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, we are gifted. Let us take this divine gift, this golden opportunity to continue serving Swami in whatever capacity we can. Jai Sai Ram.